This is for Guardians only, okay? If you're Novacore, get out. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies have always been the odd one out when it comes to MCU films, but in a good way. I feel like all three movies are incredible and explore the characters and some very deep themes. Because of the well-written films, we are able to relate to these characters. But today I won't be talking about the movies. I wanted to talk about another Guardians project that came and went, but I feel like deserves just as much praise as the movies, and that is the Guardians of the Galaxy video game. Released October 26, 2021, the game came out and everybody talked about it, but then it faded, and I don't really hear anybody talk about it anymore. And I didn't play this game until about a month ago. I had no reason for why I didn't play it, I just didn't. And a month ago I saw that it was $15, so I decided to give it a shot, and I was not disappointed. The game had all the charm of the movies, but I think to even a greater degree. So much character development and character arcs. The story was incredible. I will get more into the characters and story in a second, but I want to talk about gameplay first. In my mind, I thought this was going to be an Ultimate Alliance sort of deal, where you can switch between the characters, but unfortunately it isn't like this. The whole game you play as Star-Lord, which at first I was kind of bummed about, but this gameplay can actually be really fun. You use his guns to fight, but through the game you unlock new combos and new abilities with his guns that help break up the gameplay loop. I like the upgrades to the guns because I feel like, one, it's fun, and also, like I said earlier, it kind of breaks up the gameplay loop, but also, two, it has a really good story reason, and every time he gets a new ability, it really just pushes Star-Lord's character a little bit further. Don't worry, you have some control over the Guardians though. Each Guardian has 4 unique abilities that have some unique features. Throughout the game, you find new and fun combos by using their abilities in certain ways. The gameplay can get a little repetitive, but that isn't the reason why you play this game. The reason you play this game is for the amazing story and the amazing characters. I don't want to get super deep into the story because I really would love it if you would experience it for yourself. That being said, the story is incredible. The overarching theme is grief and moving past it and forgiving yourself. Each one of the Guardians gets to have their own arc dealing with their past traumas, mistakes, and moving past it. Through these moments, the characters become real people, and you connect with them more. Star-Lord is one of my favorite characters throughout the whole game, because he's optimistic, and he truly loves his teammates, and truly is just a good guy, even if he's goofy and silly, and sometimes he does stupid things, but it's all part of his Star-Lord charm. But this all depends on how you play as him. See, throughout the game you're given dialogue choices, and depending on what you say, characters will treat you differently, you will get closer to other characters, and people will decide to help you or abandon you. Which, honestly, I feel like makes you have to pay attention to the dialogue. And if you're not paying attention to the dialogue, first of all, what are you even doing? But the dialogue is just the huge point of this whole game. The story is the main point of this whole game. The story is the thing that kept me glued to my screen and kept wanting me to see more and more and more. But I chose the optimistic goofball Star-Lord that would do anything for his team. This game has so many small moments that make you feel like this world is fleshed out and really lived in, and these characters are actually just your real friends. What I mean is, the dialogue and actions at the beginning of the game have some payoff later off in the game. For example, at the beginning of the game, Drax wants to throw Rocket across this canyon to make it quicker for everybody. But Rocket says, he doesn't want to be thrown, he wants to be treated as this teammate, not this little raccoon. But it's up to you whether you throw Rocket or not. I decided not to throw Rocket, and if you decide not to throw Rocket, he respects you more and your friendship gets closer, but it's harder for you. Versus if you were to throw Rocket, it would make it a lot easier for you and you could get to the other side quicker. But later off in this game, that does come to pay off, and it actually has a lot of character growth for Rocket, Drax, and Star-Lord. And this is just one of the many moments where there was just such small little things that had huge payoffs later. And when I mean you have to pay attention to the dialogue, you have to pay attention. There's so many callbacks to different things said at the beginning of the game, different inside jokes. There's just so much stuff in here that makes it feel like you're actually just hanging out with a bunch of your friends. They make fun of each other, they do all this stuff, and it's just really, really good. And I think that it just feels so natural and feels so much like, oh my gosh, these guys are actually my friends. Because when I was playing this game, I was like, that's something me and my friends would do, or if one of us did this, we would definitely be laughing at that person because they did that. And just a lot of teasing and horsing around. It's just really fun, and honestly, it makes the team feel more like a team. I feel like the dialogue had me glued to these characters and to the story. It was so clean, so fluent, and I wasn't bored for a second. And I just wanted to play the whole thing through to just see the end of the story. I love the Guardians so much. They have the most realistic chemistry of friends who are family. They fight and they argue, they say stupid things, they make fun of each other, they roast each other for no reason, they do stupid things all the times, but their friends always come to help them and love them, and they always have each other's back, and they'll never leave anyone behind. The Guardians are the heart of the MCU in my opinion, and this game stole my heart. Another thing in the game is I really want to talk about the music, because the music made for this game, it's going to sound funny, but it really does help make it feel like a Guardians movie, especially because it's just so rock heavy. And there was a lot of different changes from the MCU version to the game version, which I really enjoyed. I don't know, I kind of liked it. For example, Star-Lord got his name from his favorite band on Earth, and their music's throughout the whole game, which it's a fictional band that they made for this, and it's game-made music, which is really good. I have it actually on my playlist. But yeah, that's the reason Star-Lord calls himself Star-Lord, is because it was his favorite band on Earth. So on his jacket, he has Star-Lord on it, and that's because of the band. I really do like the character designs in this. I feel like they're really fun and good. Groot doesn't really look that much different. Maybe his branches are a little bit off. Drax has different designs on his body, which I think make him look really cool. I honestly don't have a preferred one over the MCU version or the comic version or this version. I think it's just a cool design for this game. Gamora looks cool and looks way more accurate to her comic book counterpart, which I know will maybe get a little people confused because the MCU version of Gamora doesn't really look that much like the original comic book Gamora, but I really do love this comic book Gamora more. Her armor, her cool sword, it's just really cool and I like it. I love Star-Lord's design. Like I said, he has Star-Lord on his back, and it's really cool, and they give a lore reason for why he has it on. And I do like the whole thing where like it's music and he got it from Earth, so then the music that we hear throughout the game is actually from his childhood, which I think is fun. But don't get me wrong, there's also a lot of different tracks from the movies as well and other music that actually exists. Like here's some songs that are in there, like Everybody Wants to Rule the World, etc. But the character designs are really, really good too, and there's actually a lot of different cameos in this that I wasn't expecting. There's a lot of big spoiler ones, so I won't spoil it, but there's a lot of callbacks to comic books, other Guardians, previous Guardians, a lot of different stuff, and I actually really think it's kind of fun and cool. There's a lot of different changes from the MCU to this, so if you only know Guardians from the MCU, you're gonna kind of get a little shocked, but I think it's really good and fun to see the Guardians in a different version. A lot of different lore backgrounds. For example, in this, Drax actually kills Thanos. Yes, or he believes he did, or it's a little bit complicated. When you play the game, you'll understand, but Thanos is actually dead. Another thing is that Gamora actually betrayed Thanos and joined the Resistance during this great war, and that's the reason why she became a good guy, was she betrayed Thanos and became part of the Resistance, which I think is really cool and interesting. Rocket and Groot, they kind of have a similar thing where, as the MCU, where they were bounty hunters and they were working together, and that's how they met Star-Lord. Another thing, Yondu doesn't show up in this game, but kind of still the same. He plays a similar role to Star-Lord as he does in the movies, where he's kind of a father figure and stuff like that, which I was kind of hoping for a Yondu cameo, or like he would show up and help the Guardians at one point. It was mentioned that if he could help, but he doesn't show up in this game. And that's why I think this game deserves a sequel, because there's so many different things in this game that feels like they're setting it up for another one, and there's been nothing yet that's been confirmed. And I know it came out in 2021, but it's already 2024, and there's no sight of another one, and I really do need another game, because there's so many things that they set up, there's so many storylines that they could go with. And one thing I really wanted to mention is that the locations in this game are so fun. I thought throughout this game it was gonna like take place in a couple different planets, but no, you're constantly jumping planets, you're constantly going to different environments, which change up the gameplay loop and stuff like that. And I just really had fun because it felt like throughout this whole story, you thought you might have an idea of where this is going, but no, it constantly kept you on the edge of your seat and constantly was leading you one way and then taking you another way, and you were doing these fun side quests and you were doing this main thing, and like there's so many different like twists and turns in this game that it constantly had me going and I couldn't guess where it was going next, which I really liked, because I really like it when you can't tell what's coming next. And it constantly felt like a moving adventure, and it constantly felt like it was fresh and was just having fun with itself. That's the one thing I wanted to say, is that this game is just about having fun. Like every part of this game feels like the people who made it, the people who were developing this game just wanted this to be a fun experience, and it truly does show. There's just so much heart into this game, and I highly recommend you play it. This game is really great and deserves to be talked about more and praised more. I want more single player driven games for other superheroes. I know we have Spider-Man, and I know we have the Guardians, and I know we have Batman, but there's so many other heroes that I think deserve this kind of praise. I want superhero games for, Superman, Black Panther, Ant-Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Flash, Booster Gold. There's just so many single-player games I think that would be really awesome and also help push these characters into the mainstream and really just get a fandom going for them. So, my review. The story is awesome, the gameplay is fun, and you should definitely buy it when it comes on sale, because for $15, you can't beat this experience. Stay safe, Guardians. Catch you next time.